Hello, everyone. I'm Darien Gold, and welcome to All Things Pilates, Season 7. In this season, you'll hear inspiring stories about the healing power of Pilates and from teachers around the world who will share how they're helping to make Joseph Pilates' wish come true by bringing more attention to the gift he left us, Contrology, transforming bodies one studio and one country at a time. Previously on All Things Pilates, you heard from Roberta Kirschenbaum, who reflected on the profound role of touch in teaching the Pilates method. Drawing on her time with several first-generation Pilates teachers, Roberta offered unique insights into the original spirit and intent behind Joseph Pilates' method. But behind the reverence for tradition, a storm was brewing. In the second half of my interview with Roberta, what begins as a story of legacy and mentorship takes a darker turn, because the very studio that once embodied Joseph Pilates' vision would be stolen from underneath her. Can you share with our listeners what the hell is going on?
It's such a sad story, and I don't know where to begin. I wrote this whole statement out to explain it because I have not reached out to all my past clients and teachers and everything as about what happened.
Can I just ask you what year was it? Remind our listeners who haven't listened to episode 54 in season 4.
And that was in 2019, I think, right?
That sounds right.
Yes.
But what year, when you're walking past 939 8th Avenue and you see a for rent sign, what year is that?
Oh, for me, when I saw that was...
Because this is now Joe's studio. It's empty.
Yes. Well, of course, when you talk to some people, there is a little discernment, so I want to be clear and honest. There were a couple of fires in the studio.
Right.
So, according to Sean Gallagher, he'd always had said that I was not in the original. I'm not in the original space. That the original space, of course, was on the other side, on the 8th Avenue side, because you looked out of those windows and you see 8th Avenue. But there is some theory, and Sean agreed with me, that he could have been, because of the fires, the building kept changing. So he was originally in the back before, and then after a fire, then moved to the front. Because all the pictures that you see of Joe Pilates are all with the windows that are facing 8th Avenue. So I like to say, to sort of be politically correct, that I'm at the location. I'm on the second floor.
That's good enough.
His spirit walks the floor.
Oh, yeah.
When Romana came to my opening part, when Romana came to visit me in the studio, she went, "Oh, I remember. This was Joe's living room." When Kathy Grant came to my opening party, and a few times after that as well, she said, "Oh, this area was where he had the back room, where he taught. He took the special clients. Like Kathy was with him because of
her knee,
and Jay Grimes was there he was actually with Clara. But anyway, it was the back room where he would see people with more serious things before they went up there. And I also know that I think Bruce King and maybe Hannah also lived on that floor in the back. There was only one shower on that floor. So everybody used the same one. It was a unique building. It was a building that had a commercial lease and a residential, both at the same time. There were a number of buildings in Manhattan that did this to support the artist, because if an artist was a painter and if he couldn't paint in his residential apartment, it meant he had to rent an artist space somewhere else, and he couldn't afford it. So these kind of dwellings, combining the commercial and the
residential,
was really nice.
Brilliant.
That the city did to keep the artists in New York City. So that's what this building was about. There were dancers, there were opera singers, there was,
Okay, and then what year you're walking by? What year is this?
well, let's see. I've been in that neighborhood. I've been walking by that studio since at least 1984, if not before.
When did you begin to rent it?
But when I saw that the it was is for rent, must have been in 2003, between 2003 and 2004, when I saw space for rent.
Okay, and then can we fast forward?
Yes. So I had the studio there. I mean, even though I've been teaching now for over 40 years, I was in that particular space only for about 20. So all the people that worked with me out of my home, which was basically New York City ballet dancers, then they shifted over to my new studio. So I did have a clientele to bring over when I opened up the doors. So I was there for about 20 years. Bottom line, everything changed because of COVID. We had to close down.
So now we're talking 2020.
20,
Okay.
2020. Okay, we're talking, I think I closed my studio at the end of sometime in February of 2020 was when I closed. And I didn't reopen again until August of 2021, but barely, because all my teachers had returned to their native home all across the United States. My front desk people left, didn't really have anybody. It's also not that easy to find classical teachers. I think it's easier now.
Well, they're spitting out robots, unfortunately.
Yeah, I don't know. So COVID had changed everything. And during that time, I got a taste of what retirement would be about. Okay, during that time, in February of 2020, I turned 65, so I started Medicare, you know, and being home all the time, it was shopping for your food, cooking for your food, and how much time that takes during the day. And then also, taking the time to reevaluate what have I done in the Pilates world in the past 40 years, and what is it that I have to offer the Pilates world in the future? And it was a lot of self introspection,
Reflection. Mhm.
reflection, to, to figure out kind of what I wanted to do. My problem was always that if I had a manager and if I had a permanent social marketing person, I think my life would have been totally different. I've been basically doing everything on my own.
Yes, I can relate to that.
So I really wasn't into, when I opened up, I really wasn't into it anymore. Loved the teaching, always loved the teaching, but I just was not into the business anymore. So I had decided, starting that fall of 21 and 22, that I would interview people to take over the studio, someone else to take it over. And I, with a couple of stipulations if they agreed. One, I'm not leaving, you know? I mean, you can buy the studio and you can have me with it. And the few people I talked to were like, yeah, we'd love to keep you here because
You're the link.
I was the one that I'm the link and I'm the one that the same international people come to me every year. I was the one to, and I'm the greeter, whatever. Of course, I was only going to work part-time now. You're going to buy the studio and I'm not working 12, 14 hours a day anymore. I will come in, especially I'll work on a Sunday because nobody wants to work on a Sunday. But I'll work on a Sunday because I love the city when it's quiet.
Yeah.
Clients that come on a Sunday are actually very
Mellow.
relaxed and mellow. So I really enjoy working on Sundays. And plus, I needed to also accommodate, certain religious people who can't work out on a Saturday, like Jewish people who don't want to work out on Saturday, but can work out on a Sunday, and vice versa. So a studio really, I needed to be open 7 days a week to accommodate everybody in New York. But like I said, I just want to deal with the business anymore. My overhead was outrageous, and I didn't have the energy anymore. So I wanted to sell. So I interviewed these people who willing
Can you say who these people are?
No, I'd rather not. Really, that's
Okay.
really not important.
Okay.
All of the three people that I had interviewed all had at least one or more than one studio themselves. So they were already in the business. They already had their own studios and were doing well. And of course, because of the space I'm in, would like to have added that to their locations. But the only thing is that I still wanted to be able to teach there, like 2, 3 days a week, and maybe only 6 hours a day instead of 12 hours a day. And if I could do other things, because I know so many wonderful classical Pilates teachers, I would organize all the workshops with these teachers, because all these teachers, I mean, Jillian Hessel and Jennifer Stacy were at my studio when I first opened. I mean, they were friends of mine and they came and did workshops, and it was wonderful. Irene Dowd was there a bunch of times. Eric Franklin was there a bunch of times. So that's what I wanted to continue and give opportunities to my fellow classical Pilates teachers who maybe didn't have a studio, but are fabulous teachers. So that was kind of my dream. And that was really what I hoped to do. And I was also pretty specific that it had to continue being classical, because if it's not classical, then you're not really continuing the legacy of Joe and Clara. You can argue and say, I've heard people say, oh, but if Joe was alive today, he would have changed to contemporary. You know what? I didn't really want to hear that, because he didn't change to contemporary. And who knows? But you can't make that true, because what he did works. I'm now 70 and I'm still moving around. Knock on wood. I don't have any herniated discs. I haven't had any bone surgeries. And, I'm still moving around from my genetics, from my dance, and from my Pilates and everything else, and growing up on the beach. So I'm very fortunate that way, but it was very important for me to do that. So everybody agreed. All the people agreed to it. And the people I had interviewed, for whatever reason, it didn't work out. I then, to tell you the story, which I'm sorry to say this story because I have not said anything in public. I have not sent out an email of what had happened. I am too much in shock and too devastated and humiliated and dehumanized by this transactional person who came on the scene. And this person came on the scene back in 2021, the end of 2021. Won't get into the whole thing. And the reason he came to me was because he was a personal trainer and a Russian folklore dancer in Russia. And to expand his knowledge, he did the Russian pole star training program. So when he came to me in 2021, the end of 21, 22, he explained that he had been in New York for 5 years, and he was like amazed at how many Pilates studios, were in New York, and he had never done classical before. And the reason he chose my studio to work out in was because, one, I was in the original location of Joe Pilates, and two, when he read my bio on Instagram, because I'm a second generation teacher, he really wanted to study with me. So he came in January of 22, and he did the welcome packet, maybe some after that. And when he came to America, he had to repeat the Pilates course in English. And so there's a host studio in Queens, New York. So he repeated the course in English, since that was something you need to do. But he came with a bunch of issues pertaining to tightness, weakness, misalignment, and things like that. And I've seen those weaknesses in about 90% of the contemporary teachers that I have seen from all over the world, whether they've been teaching for a year, 5 years, 10 years, 15 years. I can't tell you how many contemporary teachers I have seen that after 5 or 10 years of doing the work, they now have herniated discs. or they have blown out hip flexors. I mean, but the herniated disc is what really, really gets me. I would question to myself is because we learn client by client by client. We learn from every client that comes in our midst. And I was like, wow, why is this? And I know why it is. A few certain things of why that happens. But once they also did the classical way, then they understood their bodies in a different way, and things started happening for them. And they sought out, if they weren't from New York, they sought out more classical teachers around the world, wherever they were. So this was the case with this person. He had these issues of tightness, weakness, and whatever. And as soon as he started doing his body's very adaptable, and gave him the welcome packet. And right after that, he was like, oh my God, this is really great. I've never felt so good. Oh, I understand something different now. Oh, this is really great. And he kind of put me on this pedestal, just really like, wow, this is really great. Really feeding my ego. Not to make it an ego kind of thing. You know what I mean? It's the work that does it, not necessarily me. I'm the messenger of the work. And then he asked me if he could teach for me. And I was really, really in need of teachers. But he was Polestar trained. And I can't have conflicting these because the clients will get confused. It needs to be about a personality. So
I don't think everyone listening knows Polestar.
Polestar is a contemporary program created by Brent Anderson.
Okay.
Okay, it's a training program like Bozzy.
Where did he get his training?
I'm not really sure exactly, but he's a physical therapist.
Oh, he's a PT. So we
Yeah.
don't know if he worked with any of Joe's students.
Before he got into the work, I don't know. Yeah, actually, I don't know.
Okay.
I know he has a thing going. He had a thing going, of course, with Lolita, but that's another story. He actually put her on the map.
Oh.
She had to do his program, and then she started teaching more his way than classical way and whatever.
Uh-oh. Okay. Okay. All right.
But he's got schools and programs all over the world, especially South America, Russia, and all over the place. It's a big business.
Okay. It's a business.
It's really big there for them.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's who he is. So, but it's contemporary. Now, I've known Brent for a long time before he was, rich and famous, and we always had a mutual respect for each other. He was always a perfect gentleman to me, even though we come from different philosophies about the work. But, to each his own, if whatever floats your boat. So this person was trained with them. And I said, well, if you work for me, then you need to hang around me as much as possible because I liked him. He was a gentleman. I felt he was so encouraging that I was really going to get him into the classical work, that he was really furthering, his Pilates, journey. So I let him hang around me, watch what I did. I would watch him teach. I would correct him. I would watch him work out, and I would always correct him and really kind of.
You were mentoring him.
Yeah, for free. You know what I mean?
For free.
Because he was going to teach, and I was there anyway. So this is what I do. I'm a teacher. That's what I do. By the end of the year of 2022, he had witnessed the interviews that I were having with other potential takeovers. And then he asked me in the end, like it was like December or something of 22, if I would sell the studio to him. And I said, well, I'm a little bit hesitant because you're not classical, but you've been showing such an interest in the work and you've been progressing. I would still put him at a advanced beginning level in terms of executing the work. And I said, but, so there's potential there, with these things. One, it remains a classical studio. Two, you can never, in the contract we would assign, you can never offer a contemporary training program because that is disloyal to the legacy of Joe Pilates. Just those are my two major things, that it had to remain main classical. And I gave him a price to pay me for everything. And then he came to me, well, now I'm going to say with a sob story, oh, I don't really have the money, it's a new business and blah, 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 blah. So instead of me giving you this money, I have a great idea.
Hey everyone, I wanted to let you know that DarienGold.com has been beautifully redesigned. Besides a new brand identity, the site is simple to navigate. With only 5 menu items, it's easy to glean information about classes and links to the Pilates Mastery app, the ATP podcast, and even to my voiceover website. Plus, I'm offering a special individualized mentoring program. And lastly, Tracing My Path, a digital coffee table book. The Pilates Mastery app has new additions. You can listen to my current podcast season right inside the app. The video player is replaced to help decrease buffering. A replay option is available so you can work on a routine continuously. And our in-app purchase options are coming soon, which include audio-only, single exercises, my wall repertoire, and a meditation piece to help you relax after your workouts. Well, that's the latest news. And now, back to the interview.
Called it the win-win situation. Meaning, one, he wouldn't pay anything for the studio, right? But I would be able to do everything I wanted to do. Like if I saw my international clients, whoever I taught, I wouldn't have to pay him a studio rental. I would direct and plan all the workshops for the education part, and I would keep all that money. If I decided to start a training program, which I did, I said I did it a few years back in 2006 to 2008 or 9 or something. From that training program, I would keep all the proceeds about that, and things like that. So me, being the naive woman sucker, said, well, okay, you've been a nice guy and, whatever. Okay.
So you signed a contract?
No. So the idea was, now on the plus side, as I don't know if I mentioned this before, so I'm sorry if I'm going to repeat it. During 2020, I reunited with my true love after 4 years of not seeing each other.
How could you forget that?
That really that still balanced me out with all the mishigas and craziness that this guy has put me through. Having this love balances out my emotional energy. You know what I mean? I'd probably be off the deep end.
I understand. Can you wrap this up, what this guy actually did? How did he change your world?
Okay. He wanted to knock down my middle room, which was the teacher's lounge and library. And he wanted to knock that down to make the studio bigger. So I had to take everything out of that library workroom, store it in the massage room, and he was going to be doing that for about 6 weeks. So I went down to,
Who's paying for that?
well, he was paying for that. Anything, new or additional, he was going to, pay for that. So I decided I didn't want to be around while this renovation is going on. The studio would be closed. Anyway, moved everything out, and I planned to be with my boyfriend, who's out of state now because he's retired, and he's out of state. So I was going to go down there for 6 weeks. The night before I left to visit my boyfriend, this person came to my studio came to my apartment and wanted me to sign this temporary agreement. And I said, well, I really can't sign it because this is not the contract. I mean, why do I need to sign this agreement? He goes, oh, well, the landlords and my lawyer want to make sure you're really serious. So they really want you to sign this. And basically it said that I was giving him everything, which I wasn't. I said, well, let me write at the bottom of this that this is a temporary agreement until the full contract, because this all happened so fast. It happened within a couple of weeks. I got the landlords to give him $2,000 off of the rent. I only had a year left on my lease. The landlords were going to transfer over to them. My landlords were really gracious.
Accommodate
All during COVID and everything like that. They really liked me, and they were.
Did he plan to come to your apartment because he knew you were leaving town the next day?
Now looking back on it, It was all transactional, mischievous, and took advantage of what was going on. So I said, I don't really want to sign this. I want to put down to the, oh, no, 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 Roberta, you can trust me. You can trust me. Sign this. Stupid me, sign this. The minute I left, halfway of my trip at my boyfriend, I get a call from a Pilates peer, a really good friend of mine here, whose studio now I rent, and said, hey, I just heard that you sold your studio and you're selling all your classical equipment online.
Uh-oh.
And I went, what? This guy didn't pay me peanuts, just nothing.
Was he getting advice from Brent?
Well, later on, I figured out, yeah, this definitely must have been a collusion because Brent always wanted to be in my studio. And I said to Brent years ago, I can't host you. I can't host your program in my studio because you're not classical. It's really nothing personal. It's really professional because I am in Joe's space and this is what needs to be. So what he did was what this transactional person did, he used this temporary agreement as the contract and basically threw me out of the studio, sold my equipment, my classical that I had these wonder chairs that were custom done in a certain way for the feet and the arms, and he fucking sold them, didn't give me any of the money for it, didn't help me out in any way. Became a Dr. Jekyll, Mr. Hyde. He had shown such an evil side to me that I was afraid even to do anything, to the point that I'm considering, just because of this video, if the word, gets out there, I'm considering getting an order of protection because he showed such an evil side.
He sold all your apparatus.
Most of it. Some of it I was able to take. It's like, oh, can I please have the, I mean, he just became this oligarch, dictator, bossy person. And I always said, it was kind of like Russia invading Ukraine. It was like invasion and takeover.
Oh, that's what he's brought up with. That's the energy.
So many people told me don't do business with him, but I'm like, oh no, but he's such a nice guy. He's got a family.
Are you allowed to say his name?
Maybe I'll say it later, but I'll tell you the name of the studio later.
Well, later is now because we've.
Well, I will tell you that what he has done, he has totally trying to erase me. When he first had his website, he mentioned me in the website as the person who got the space started and how he's so thankful to me. And this is what I'm doing. Now I am not on his website at all. He removed my street sign, didn't have the common decency to get it back to me. I had a international wall. When you walked in my studio, you can see it on my Instagram, where people from all over the world signed on this wall their name, the city and country they were from, and maybe a little quotation here and there that expanded over a wall and a half. He recently painted over that entire wall. He lies on his website saying, Classical Studio, we're so proud to be here. We're adhering to the Joseph and Clara Pilates, and we're keeping up the legacy. No mention of me at all, anywhere, and erase. And so you asked me about this, Brent, know about this? Yes, and now it's becoming a Polestar studio. Polestar apprentices go there every afternoon.
Oh, that's what this was about.
In this video, I want this to be told. This is a shout out to you, Brent Anderson. I have known you before you were rich and famous. We have always had a mutual respect for each other. You are complicit in this, okay? This guy idolizes you and wants to get on your corporate bandwagon of Pilates training things all over. And he has totally erased me. So he's been there now for 2 years. He has 1 more year left on the lease. I don't know what's going to happen, but
I'm surprised that the landlord let this go through.
well, because I signed over the lease to him. Like I said, I helped him out so much. Like I got the rent reduced by $2,000 a month, giving this new person a chance, even though he was inheriting my clientele would continue being there. And the idea was it was supposed to be a gradual transition through the year,
Wow. Very aggressive.
he has just been sticking the knife in my back and twisting it any which way he can. So the only thing I can do right now is, because one, leave it up to karma. You know, that's one thing. Where I'm going to go from here with him, I don't really know. But now, thank you.
I'm sure there's an attorney out there that would work with you.
Yeah, don't, I wouldn't go there right now
Oh, I would.
because there are things going on. People are very concerned about,
Oh man, I would have like sent out the dogs to him, man.
yeah, but when you're a single woman, like I said, I'm afraid for my physical safety because he has shown such an evil side.
Well, you can use that to your advantage. You know that.
Oh, maybe I don't know that.
Okay, well, that's something we can discuss.
But anyway, he does not deserve to be in that space. He is not gracious for what has been given to him. He is not humble. He is a,
Okay, so you're not giving his name.
so I will tell, no, I will tell you that the name of his studio is called Nice and Tall, but that he is not nice and he's short.
Okay.
Thank you, Darien, because I was very afraid to do this podcast and to call out this person.
Well, there's a huge injustice that's been done, and I'm sure people listening will agree with you and feel that something needs to be done to right this injustice. And maybe it's karma, maybe I can't imagine that Joe's too happy with what's the apparatus line?
Oh, it's just like all this contemporary stuff because, he's banking on group classes and also charging an exorbitant amount of money for the expertise and knowledge that he does not have. If you're going to say you're keeping on in the legacy of Joe Pilates, he was just beginning to get it, and like I said, we were working together. And I am just an overgiving person, always feeling sorry for the other guy. I'll tell you one funny story.
Okay, so let's end with the fun. Can we end with a funny story?
Yeah, just to say what kind of person I am. Yes. And we did my shout out and shame on you to all these people.
Yeah.
I will not be erased. So when I was a little girl and the World's Fair came to New York City in 1964, I was 9 years old. Of course, the same year the Beatles came to America. My parents took me and my brother to the World's Fair in Queens. And there was the GE building, the GE exhibit. They sold raffles while you were waiting online. And if you won this raffle, you would win a color TV. So my mother bought me a raffle. And while I'm waiting online, there's a girl behind me who's younger than me, 6 or 7, and her mother would not buy her a raffle ticket. And this little girl went into a tantrum, yelling and screaming at her mother that she didn't do it. I felt so sorry.
She probably still does that as a woman to get her way.
I felt so sorry for this girl that I gave her my ticket.
Oh,
And guess what?
she
She
won.
won the color TV. So my mom has always laughed about this. I've laughed about this and said, my daughter, she'll give you the shirt off her
Yes,
back.
she
She sees
would.
someone who doesn't have what she has. Not that we had a lot. She sees someone that doesn't have something. She'll give her the shirt off your back.
Well, I have to say that is part of the Jewish heritage, is to always be thinking of others and to give. And that gets lost in translation as well, especially with what's happening now.
Yes, because of how the world hated my people, my family. I was not taught up to be revengeful. I was taught up, well, they might hate us, but we're just going to give love back in return. I was brought up with a lot of love, a lot of giving, being part of the civil rights movement, my whole family very much involved in that. And like my mother said, when she came to America, they came because freedom of religion, education, economics, a new life. And they came to America, and this was in the 60s, and she said, we were all at the dinner table, and I could see her saying it. She said, she looked so depressed. I said, Ma, what's going on? She says, I can't believe it. She goes, I just found out that Black people down south sit at the back of the bus. She was like, I am so disappointed in America. She says, what a hypocrite they are. She says, we came here for this reason, and they treat Black people like this in the South? It just was such a slap in the face to her. And I grew up in Rockaway Beach, where we're such a mix of everybody, Irish, Italian, Jewish, Black and Puerto Rican, a little bit of Chinese at that time. Everyone got along. I went to your house for Christmas. You came to my house for Passover. We had the number one football team in the city. We protested against Vietnam War all together. And that's the way I was brought up. So I have been dehumanized by this guy. I said the new word I learned of the week is traduce, which is a person who tells lies to destroy someone else's reputation. I can tell you many stories of things that he has said about me that I've heard. In the beginning, he was also using my name as validation for himself. Meanwhile, twisting the knife in my back at the same time. So I'm calling it out now for the Pilates world. I hate to get this political about something in the Pilates world, but.
Well, all we have is Joe's studio, and now it's been turned into something that isn't continuing with his vision.
I am part of that legacy.
Yes, you are.
But you erasing me from that chain.
Well, stupid.
You want everybody to believe, this is what propaganda is all about. You want everybody to believe that you're the first and only one that has taken over Joe Pilates' place, which is a lie.
Well, more people will now understand that it is a lie. But getting back to something that is nourishing and healing about the hands, I'd like to just close with thanking you for helping us sort of piece apart what's possible with the hands, with reflexology, the feet. The hands and the feet have this relationship. And the deeper we can go into our own practice, the more grateful and appreciative we are of this man's methodology. And you were so fortunate to have worked with many of his students, and no one can ever, ever, ever take that away from you.
In that realm, yes, I am blessed. I am blessed to have had this most wonderful training, and I'll emerge again.
Yes, you will, Roberta.
I'm experimenting and doing some things now, which I won't get into, but
I'm already signing up. I'm signing up for that class with massage, with the actual exercises, and talking about how to find some disconnections. But thank you so much for your time, Roberta.
Yes, and thank you for supporting me and letting me air my...
Yes, it's a lot of air.
My yin and my yang.
Yeah, a lot of yin, a lot of yang.
They still will not take my humor away, but...
No, never, never.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All Things Pilates is produced, written, edited, and hosted by me, Darien Gold. Mastered audio mix, Fabian Romero. Original music, a.k.a. Johnny. If you're enjoying this show, we would love for you to leave a review on Apple Podcasts so you can let others know what you like or love about All Things Pilates. Also, if you're interested in helping to support this podcast, become a subscriber. It helps with the back-end costs that accrue when producing a show. To learn more about our growing community, check out our show notes. Forgive yourself for the blindness that put you in the path of those who betrayed you. Sometimes a good heart doesn't see the bad.